Hey, what's up, everybody? Dark Desert Highway coming at you today from Idaho. And yesterday, we got into a story about Daniel and a king who had a dream that he couldn't remember, but wanted the magicians and astrologers and the wise men of the province to reveal to him. And since they couldn't reveal it to him, he threatened them all with death. Daniel heard about it because his life was on the line now. And he said, "Hold on, I know somebody who can do this." And he approached the Lord with a prayer for understanding about this dream that the king had forgot. And it was revealed to him. Now, if there's one person who had a very special relationship with the Lord, it was Daniel. Here's the thing. If I was put in the same situation, I'm not sure that I would get an answer. But something that Daniel was doing with his life allowed him to ask questions of the Lord and receive answers. And I'm particularly interested in how he conducted his life in order to have this type of relationship with God. Because if this happened to me, I'm not sure that I'd get an answer. But let's look at the story, since we preluded it in yesterday's Bible study. Let's look at the whole story. So we're in Daniel chapter 2, and I'm just going to read the story today. "And in the second year of the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and his sleep went from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the enchanters and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So they came in and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in the Syrian language, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The thing is gone from me. If ye make not known unto me the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive gifts of me and rewards and great honor. Therefore, show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered the second time, and they said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said, I know of a certainty that you would gain time, because you see that the thing is gone from me. But if ye make not known unto me the dream, there is but one law for you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter, forasmuch as no king, lord, or ruler hath asked such a thing of any magician, or enchanter, or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is no other that can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with the flesh. For this cause the king was very angry and furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the decree went forth, and the wise men were to be slain. And they sought Daniel and his companions to be slain. Then Daniel returned answer with counsel and prudence to Arioch, the king of the captain's guard, who was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, "Wherefore is the decree so urgent from the king?" Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. And Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would appoint him a time. Just give me a moment, and he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning the secret, and Daniel and his companions should not perish with the rest of the wise men in Babylon. Okay, so it wasn't just Daniel praying, but Daniel got a group of fellow believers together, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. He shared the story about the king's dream with his friends, and in 18, that they would desire mercies of God in heaven concerning the secret. So there was more than Daniel just praying here. There was 4 people, 4 believers in the Lord praying. So that just sticks out to me. 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a vision of the night. And then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removeth kings, he setteth up kings. He give wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that have understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who have given me wisdom and might, and hast now made known unto me what we desired of thee, for thou hast made known unto us the king's matter." Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, "Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation." Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, "I have found a man of the children of the captivity of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation." The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, "Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof?" Daniel answered before the king and said, "The secret which the king hath demanded can neither wise men, enchanters, magicians, or soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and he hath made known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and thy visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets has made known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have, more than any living, but to the intent that the interpretation may be known to the king, and that thou mayest know the thoughts of thy heart. Though thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This image, which was mighty, and whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the aspect thereof was terrible. As for this image, its head was of fine gold, its breast and its arm of silver, its belly and its thighs of brass, its legs of iron, its feet part of iron and part of clay. 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon its feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken in pieces together, and became like chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, so that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art King of kings, unto whom the God of heaven hath given the kingdom, the power, the strength, and the glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, and the beasts of the field, and the birds of the heavens, hath he given into thy hand, and hath made thee to rule over them all. Thou art the head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. And as iron that crusheth all these, shall it break in pieces and crush. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall partly be strong and partly broken. As whereas they sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, thou shalt mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron doth not mingle with the clay. And in the days of those kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, nor shall the sovereignty thereof be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Forasmuch as thou sawest that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in the pieces of iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made it known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. The dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face, and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered Daniel and said, Of a truth, your God is the God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou hast been able to reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel great, and gave him many gifts, and made him to rule over the whole province of Babylon, and to be the chief governor of all the wise men of Babylon. And Daniel requested of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel was in the gate of the king. So, Daniel had a specific type of relationship with the Lord. Now, we read earlier that from the first day, Daniel had set his heart to understand and humbled himself before the Lord, that his words were heard. So that's a very key part of Scripture right there. So let's look at his action. His action was having a heart desiring to understand and humbling himself at the same time before the Lord every day, repeatedly. Not just once, not just a week, but he lived his life like this. And the Lord showed him favor because of it. The Lord's aware of everything that we do. So when we make up something in our heart concerning him, I think that he really pays attention. Another thing I've noticed is that the Lord likes to reveal himself to whole people groups at once. So if it wasn't for the king having the dream, he wouldn't have called in all the magicians of the land, the soothsayers, the astrologists, the wise men. That must have been a great company of people, right? Definitely more than one, and 4 or 5 different groups of title, people that held a title, right? Then for the king to give such a order as an order of execution for all these men, it must have gone throughout the land, which it did. It went out through all the land that all the wise men should be killed. This must have caused quite the rumor, right? With such an epic thing to happen, such as the mass murder of a whole bunch of people groups. Okay, so everybody's talking about this right now. This is how I see it going down. It gets back to Daniel. Daniel says, hold on. I know the true God. He is the revealer of secrets. Let me petition him and see what he would say to me. He got a couple friends together, and they all prayed together for one thing. And the Lord heard it. The Lord heard it, and he revealed it in a vision when Daniel was in his bed. So he got the answer. Now there's a potential stay of execution, right? More rumors. Hold on, wait a minute. Somebody's actually saying, at first, everybody's liars, right? They can't hold their positions anymore. Somebody more powerful from them has threatened their lives. It's probably affected their families, because these guys probably had wives and kids and stuff like that. The whole town must have been like, what is the king doing? Why are all the soldiers out hunting, hunting down these people? And then Daniel comes up and stops the whole thing. And says to the king, I can do this, but it's not because of anything that I possess personally. It's because there is a God. There is a God, a living God who reveals secrets. And then the secret dream was told back to the king, and the king's like, that was it. That was it. That was my dream. Right? So now the pressure's off a little bit. Everybody's kind of maybe taking a breath, but this has caused quite the ruckus, quite the story among the whole kingdom of Babylon, right? I mean, if the king's involved with it, the king has his servants, his armies, his people in legislative positions, probably his lawmakers, his council. This was a big deal. A lot of people were paying attention to this. And I think that the Lord likes to reveal himself in situations like this. Like, I am here. I am the only God. I have power. I have power to reveal to you the secrets of your heart. because I know your heart, I know your dreams, I have a record of everything that's going on. So now the king who had captured the Hebrew nation and were holding all of their people prisoners in his land because he subdued their land, took them as prisoners, and then brought them over to his land. So everybody, part of the, what do you call it? The refugees? I'm not sure what the war word would be for prisoners of war in this situation, but they were basically prisoners of war. And so, this affects them too. So everybody has been affected by this dream that can't be remembered. And then every deity, false idol, every other option to have this dream revealed was exhausted. The king said, "You're all liars." But here steps in Daniel with the interpretation, where everybody else failed, using all their magic and all their techniques and all the dark sorceries of demons, and everything failed. Nothing worked. There was nobody who could reveal this secret. And then Daniel comes up and is like, I know it. I know it, but it's not because I'm special, like I did anything, have any special knowledge, or I didn't command this to happen. It was given to me by the living God, the living God, the revealer of secrets. And Daniel says that, he makes a point of saying that. Let's see if I can get back up to where he makes a point about saying this. Okay, here it is. In verse 30. "But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but to the intent that the interpretation may be known to the king, and that thou mayest know the thoughts of your own heart." And he specifically ascribes this. He says in 28, "But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and he hath made known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days." And look at what happens to the king, right? Because you got all these astrologers, all these different basic religion groups coming up, exhausting all of their options to, what false god they're going to pray to. None of them work. And then here's one that worked. Now that's noticeable. That's notable. The king paid attention to that, and he fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel. Though he worshipped the wrong person. But he answered Daniel and says in verse 47, "Of a truth, your God is God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and the revealer of secrets. Seest thou hast been able to reveal this secret?" And then Daniel, okay, now nobody's getting murdered. Everybody's going, whew, that was close, right? Man, I'm glad that guy stepped in, But all of those people who were calling upon all their false religion techniques, black magic, false idols, praying to their gods, nothing worked, right? They got to be standing on the sidelines going, that guy's got something special, right? That guy, he's got something that none of us got. So they're probably questioning themselves and what they've devoted their entire lives to, basically being, a falsehood. So they've probably got some, thoughts about this, what's going on. Now, nobody's getting killed. The whole city probably knows about it. God likes to reveal himself to whole groups of people at the same time. And you see that, in the Bible a lot of times, So anyways, I just wanted to read a story today. That's all I got. I hope that you guys have a good day.